I'm John Batchelor, John Avlon, and Cenk Uygur are here with me. Gentlemen, just the three of us, so we're going to, just among us, talk about the politics of oil. Cenk, right now, your understanding of the oil spike, is it hit America yet? Are they still reacting to the gasoline prices? Have they put all this together with the crisis in the Middle East?
I don't think they've put it together yet. We did a segment on it on MSNBC a week ago and said, look, if you're worried about Libya, wait till this thing reaches Saudi Arabia. And obviously the markets, according to friends of mine that work on Wall Street, have started reacting to the possibility that at some point it will reach Saudi Arabia. And if you think gas prices are bad now, wait till you get a load of that. I think we're still on this euphoric, hey, democracy spreading in the Middle East, which I think is great. I'm on that bandwagon. But I just put out a cautionary note on our show, this will affect your gas prices, and freedom isn't free.
Mr. Avlon, the politics of oil includes the fact that we get to blame somebody. Who are we going to blame?
Well, I mean, to some extent, we should blame ourselves for still being dependent on foreign energy sources and fueling petro-dictatorships and terrorists, for that matter. Look, out of this, I think, comes a few things. I mean, Cenk's exactly right that, first of all, that there is a wave of freedom, but there's the real costs that can come with this. What it should do is increase our sense of urgency about kicking this addiction of foreign oil that we forget about every time the price of oil goes down, which can be gamed by the effective cartel that OPEC is or not, to realize that it is in our strategic and economic interest to get off this addiction, and that takes investments and it takes far-sighted thinking, and in the short term it means opening up some sources here at home. And I think the BP oil spill rightly reminded us of the dangers that come with the stupidity behind a drill baby drill bumper sticker. But we need to probably focus more on North American resources and then get alternatives in place. It's something that unites the political spectrum. It needs to be job one.
Cenk, I want to turn this quickly to the President's options because he will, at this point, comment. Strategic oil reserve, cutting taxes, drilling in the Gulf, pushing back on green. Any of those options attractive for the Obama administration?
I'm sure a lot of them will be. Not many of them are attractive to me. The green option is obviously a good one because as prices rise, green energy becomes more attractive within that context. Drilling for oil, Ken Salazar said the other day that they have started doing that again, even though containment is a, quote, work in progress, which means that if it blows up now, they just simply don't know how to solve it. I think that's dangerous. And second of all, from my perspective, we don't get the oil. Everybody keeps saying if we drill for oil here, then we get oil. We don't get it. BP gets it. Whichever oil company is doing it gets it. They don't even have to pay royalty rights. So I'm not sure that it's of great value to us.
Well, and the thing, I mean, there's a difference between the strategic petroleum reserves and some of the drilling options. And I don't think that the taxes are actually, in a non-election year, are actually an advisable position. Because while they will reduce some pressure on the pocketbook, especially in the summer months, I think we want to keep our attention focused on the larger game here. This is a matter of leadership. This is a matter of national strategic leadership at the end of the day, too. We need to get over these short-term reactions of panic every time there's an economic spike and focus instead of the long-term problem in solving.
And look, we're supposed to be the leaders of the free world.
Right.
This is the time you lead the free world. And yes, we might take a short-term hit in gas prices, but in the long run, this could be great for us, for the area, and even for gas prices in the long run.
Yeah, and Tom Friedman has written brilliantly about this over a long period of time. I mean, just the dictatorships that are propped up by oil prices around the world. We need. This is something the Obama administration. It is a layup. It is something that independent voters in particular are ready for. This is an issue of priority. It's a leadership. It's a unifying principle. But it really does take presidential.
I'm speaking with Cenk Uygur of MSNBC and YoungTurks.com and John Avlon of CNN and the Daily Beast. And now I'll turn it around. All right, I'm going to find a silver lining in the high price of oil. Cenk, what this means is that the Greens, especially those who promote sustainable energy, get back in the game. They're driven out of it with low prices of oil, but wind and tidal and even the far out become advisable for kilowatt hours when the price of oil clears $120 a barrel.
Yes and no. For 9 years on our program on the Young Turks, we've been talking about they're never going to do any of this green stuff until the price of oil becomes too high. And that's exactly where we're headed, unfortunately, in the short term for this. So I agree with you completely on that premise. The problem is, in our current political environment, I don't believe that a lot of the senators, most of the Republicans, and a lot of the Democrats are honest actors. I believe they get paid by the oil industry, and they don't give it. They don't care what the price of oil is.
Yeah, and I'll add to that, and Cenk and I disagree with it a lot, but we agree on some. And here's an area where the President of the State of the Union said that one of the ways they could lower the corporate tax rate is to close the loopholes on oil companies in particular. This should be a no-brainer for folks, whether you're fiscally conservative or the liberal end of the spectrum, and yet it was a non-starter. That illustrates the degree of the problem here. And in the big picture, look, 248 Chevy Volts sold last month. Maybe this upticks that. I mean, folks got to think a little bit bigger about this.
And as Dick Durbin said about the banks, it's also true of the oil companies. Frankly, they run the place.
The banks don't? What?
They both do.
What?
Potemkin Village.
What happened here? I thought the banks were in charge.
They're both in charge.
Right.
They give a lot of contributions.
Of course, I understand. And detail here, we've got just 20 seconds. We're going to talk about this through the night, through varied permutations. We're going to go next to Selena Zito about the governors in this. But the price of oil right now, it's not going to break us. But that gasoline price, it's making very, 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 very people unhappy, right? We can agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
And when people are unhappy, the consumer confidence goes down, and that has meaning to Wall Street. Cenk Uygur of MSNBC, John Avlon on CNN and the Daily Beast, and I'm John Batchelor.